Kevin here for Catch and Cook California. Today, we're gonna talk about gear rentals. We're gonna talk about getting gear together on a budget. We're gonna hop in the water, do a little bit of spearfishing in the shallows, and then we're gonna make a Mediterranean fish dish. Let's go. So when it comes to putting together a kit, you don't have to buy all your gear all at once before you've even tried it, and you don't have to buy it new. I first recommend renting gear, and then when it comes to building your kit, it all depends on your budget. I learned with secondhand gear and hand-me-down gear. So I want to talk a little bit about how to put a kit together on a budget.
First things first, let's talk about dive shops and rentals. This is Bamboo Reef in Monterey, California. They've been around since 1961. Since they've been around for that long, when I was a kid, I always remember all the buzz about this shop. And if you head on in there, you're going to see a wide variety of gear. They have scuba gear, but they also have freedive gear, so long blade fins and open cell suits. And the beauty of it is they offer rentals that are affordable, and those rentals are also open cell suits with long blade fins made for freediving. So this is the shop that I recommend most in Monterey, California. So once you've got out in the water for your first dive, you may want to start building your kit. And a great place to find a bunch of gear, although it may take a little bit of TLC, is at any given thrift store or flea market or garage sale. You may have to dig through a bit of gear that's worse for wear, but you'll probably find some hidden gems down in there. In this case, I've got a few old 7mm suits from way back, and then a nice little 5mm that looks like it's in much better condition. A few old school snorkels that I really wouldn't use, they probably have holes in them, and then down in here, a decent snorkel that is going to come with me. So you may not get long blade fins and an open cell suit at your first flea market that you look at, but these gloves will work just fine. And if you're on a budget, this is a great way to build a kit, and it's how I started. So I definitely recommend secondhand if you're on a budget. Now I've been getting out quite a bit guiding freedive spearfishing, both intro level and beginner intermediate level. So I'm going to show you some of that footage to start out. This is one of my clients with her first rockfish she was spearing on an intro level. Beautiful headshot, really nice fish. Now usually we do pick up a few rockfish here and there at intro level, but typically I focus on rockfish with the beginner intermediate, which is a little bit more advanced than that intro level. So that's what we're doing here, using dive lights, spear guns, and working in the kelp forests. And this client just got a shot at a rockfish. Didn't quite get it this time, but we're focusing on kelp rockfish and grass rockfish like these guys. They're much more territorial, and in the end, he ended up getting like 3 or 4 rockfish on that outing. So I don't usually record much when I'm out diving with my clients, but I could not help it. This day I busted out the camera because I saw this. Do you see him? He's in the shallows, just laying there, and absolutely beautiful. Underwater dragon. This is a lingcod, and they have to be 22 inches to be of legal size. I wanted to make sure that my clients on the surface saw this fish because I didn't want them getting any ideas. You don't want to go down there and try to take a lingcod with a 3-prong. It's just not made for that. They're way too powerful of a fish. And because I could also tell it was just undersized, we're obviously not going to pursue it. Remember, with spearfishing, we can't catch and release. We have to release before we catch. So we're going to let this guy go, grow, and hopefully we'll be able to get him later on. So I dropped down into here. This is the edge of this sea urchin barren and the seagrass, and just below the tops of the pinnacles, down in these deeper portions, you can see there's this massive school of perch. This is exactly what I was looking for my clients for intro levels, so I'm going to very casually back on out of here. And that way I don't spook the school. I don't want to blast up through them to get a breath. And this way I can call my clients over to get a shot. And right after that, I drop down on this cave, and as I'm looking down under the ledge, I end up seeing the tail fin of a rockfish right here. So I mark this spot, and again, very casually, very calmly make my way back to the surface, and that way I can call my client over. And again, hunting caves is a little bit more of a beginner intermediate rather than an intro level, but I wanted this client to get the opportunity at this fish, so I kind of directed him over here and showed him where to go, and he ended up getting a shot here, but missed, and the fish went back in the cave. So I went over to my board and grabbed my dive light, and then came back over to see if we could illuminate that cave, and then maybe he could get a follow-up shot. He didn't hit it the first time, so it's not as though it's wounded, but we knew he was there. Anyway, I dropped down, and instead of the rockfish, I see this guy, a cabezon, and he's just chilling right there. They must have been in the same cave. So I just keep that beam on him and wait for my client to get the shot. My client comes down here, loaded up, but not pointing it at me, and takes the shot. Ended up missing this one, and he goes back in the cave, and we get one more drop here. And I drop down, and I'm kind of scanning around trying to find the mouth of the cave. When I find it, I don't see the fish initially, so I really get down low on the bottom and line up inside the cave, and then we see the fish way back in there. So my client's not quite loaded. He's got it loaded now. He starts lining up and then spooks the fish, and the fish moves off. And this is a very normal thing, especially when you're starting out. And this is, again, why I say this is a little bit more beginner intermediate rather than intro level kind of spearfishing. But as I make my way back to my board, I end up seeing another cab out in the open. I just handed my gun to my client, who gets the shot. It's a perfect shot, but the spear shaft hit the bottom and the flopper didn't open. So this fish is barely on there, and as I race down there to pin it down, it throws the shaft and goes back in this cave. Now at this point, I'm a little freaked out because I don't like wounding fish and having them get away. Now he's in the cave, so I'm going to grab the pole spear here and see if I can get a follow-up shot while I'm down here. But as I'm looking around, I'm really not seeing him. He's somewhere deep back in those shadows. Now I'm not going to give up. Instead, I'm going to hit the surface. I'm going to grab that gun, load it up. I'm going to grab my light. I'm going to drop back down in there, and I'm going to try to put a follow-up shot on this. This is a situation I don't really like to have to do. I would love for this client to be able to get the second shot and bring home the fish, but at this point there is a sense of urgency. I don't want this fish to blast out of that cave, disappear off into the abyss, and then we never see him again and he dies on his own. So I really am going to try to get a follow-up shot on him quickly so that we recover this fish, because it's all about respecting these fish and bringing home the bacon. So I'm shining back in there, and I'm not seeing him. There's a lot of cloudiness in the water. Some of that is because the fish is kicked around in there, but some of that is blood. So I can tell this fish is not going to make it. But he could, again, at any moment blast on out of there, and we'll never see him again. So again, it's time sensitive. Now I've gone to the other side of the rock. I'm shining my light around, trying to find if there's any other entrance to this cave or exit to the cave, because I want to see if the fish is going to move out of one of those spots, or if I can get a different vantage point and maybe I can line up on the fish, because he is pretty far back in there. And finally I see this entrance here, and I line up with my light. I see the fish. Finally I find the pectoral fins, so I know I've got a good holding shot. I line up and get my shot. And luckily this time it's a good holding shot. I'm able to pull the fish on out of here. The flopper did deploy this time. It went all the way through the fish, and that means that the fish is pinned between the flopper and my hand. That fish is going nowhere other than coming home as an honored guest for dinner. So at this point I load up and take off and go look for one fish that I did want to bring home, because I have a new recipe in mind. And I know some folks might be getting a little tired of the perch recipes, but I really am on a quest to showcase the best perch have to offer. So took a shot at this little perch here, black perch, hit it right behind the gill plate where I like to hit it, and this is actually a pretty good sizable fish, and it's going to make a nice contribution to our meal. So that's what we're up to today, cooking perch again with a new Mediterranean recipe. If you want to come out diving, hit me up, catchandcookcalifornia.com.
All right, so now you've got in the water, you've got your 3-prong, you got your fish. What do you do with an entry-level fish like a perch? I'm on a quest to try a bunch of different recipes with perch, and I think today's Mediterranean style perch is gonna be a winner. Let's go cook.
All right, so normally I will scale and fry fish whole when I do perch, but in this case it was a nice sizable perch, and so I'm going to fillet it because I want the meat separated out. And the idea being here, I'm going to take it off the skin, I'm going to debone these fillets, and then I'm actually going to chunk this meat up, because what we're going to do is we're going to try to change the texture of the meat by actually pulverizing it in a mortar and pestle. I'm going to add in some lemon zest and some parsley and some garlic, and I start pounding away. And this, with some kufta spice, hopefully is going to impart a lot of nice Mediterranean flavor, a little bit of oil. I'm also going to add in a little bit of egg white, and this is going to act as a binder. And then I'm also going to add a bit of breadcrumb, and then just pound the living heck out of this until the protein structures are broken down in such a way that when I form these into patties, it essentially is more chewy, like a delicate sausage, and much less like a perch fillet. So what we have here are basically pescatarian Mediterranean sausages. So we got this incredible flatbread at the local farmer's market. I cannot speak highly enough. It's so good. And heated it up. We're going to top it off with a little tzatziki. This is a yogurt-based sauce with dill and garlic. We got some homemade hummus on there. I'm going to load it up with as much of this fish sausage as I can. I really want to feel that texture and taste that flavor in this beautiful, beautiful meal. Got some crispy cucumber on there. This is all about fresh veggies. Nice juicy tomato, hearts of romaine. Got some nice crispy and spicy red onion. Everything about this says summertime. Kalamata olives, topping it off with a little hot sauce. I'm telling you right now, my mouth is watering and I've already eaten this. It's yeah, ready for the taste test. Really good, actually. That's really good. That's like a pescatarian gyro. That's really good. Okay, I'm into it. Diane wants some. She doesn't want to be on film today, so hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, keep the old ways alive.